Hello, I'm Scott Bogie here with Karli Thomas ahead of her Cage Fury FC fight against Paige Wilcox. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. And this year has just been fantastic for you. It's 3 wins so far. You finish with a win here. How do you rate this year so far in terms of activity wise?
What was the question again? I'm
Like,
sorry.
how do you rate this year in terms of activity wise? Being able to get 4 fights in.
Yeah, definitely a busy year. It's been awesome, honestly, just being active and able to fight all the time. I've just been kind of trying to enjoy it most I can, stay healthy, and just soak it all in, really.
And how are you feeling coming into this fight?
I'm feeling great, ready to close the year out, with a strong performance. You know, this is my fourth camp this year, so it's pretty much been in camp almost. It feels like almost all year, pretty much. So, just ready to finish this year up strong.
And what do you feel like your main strength is in this fight?
Um, I know Paige is she's a tough girl. She's a great striker, comes forwards, really aggressive. Um, I think just maybe experience a little bit. I think I'm a really well-rounded fighter. I think that's gonna help me in this fight also. And I like that kind of fight, I'm here for that
Yeah.
kind of fight. So it's just, I'm ready for it. So
How was it being able to get the rounds in last time out? Because like you did get the third round finish, you got the first round in your first opening fight. How good is it to have that experience?
I really that was honestly something I really wanted to like happen in my second fight. I wanted to, be able to fight at least a round, 5 minute round and just
Yeah.
see what that's like, see how my body handles it, how my conditioning handles it. I was actually really thankful to even make it into I kind of like even the later parts of the third round just to feel that because you don't want to get to that next level and not know like can I go 15 full minutes on maybe hopefully 25 one someday. So definitely getting that time in the cage was a huge win for me for sure.
And obviously, with that last card, you were able to get the victory with your teammates. I remember seeing someone in your gym was also competing on that card, got the win. How good is it to be able to not only share the victory with yourself, but as well as your team as well?
Yeah, so the teammate that fought on the same card was actually my boyfriend, also Justin Patton. He'll actually be fighting again on December 20th on the same card as I am with when I fight Paige. He'll be actually the main event fighting Ryan Cafaro for that. So that experience is just it's unlike anything else. Just to be able to do that with him and get wins and go through camp together and all the ups and downs of that. It's awesome. So.
And it
I'm
must be
very
good.
blessed to have like my team out there, to have Justin out there with me, my friends, my family come out and support. So just that support means like everything.
And it must be good to be able to have that person next to you when you are going through the tough times, like the weight cuts and stuff like that.
Definitely, definitely.
And after this win, we are coming up to Christmas time. How good is it to be able to get that win as a wee Christmas present from Cage Fury?
Yeah, definitely will be a nice one to get that win. Definitely looking forward to just finishing up the year, like, fighting and then spending some time with my family, enjoying the holidays, eating some good food. Definitely looking forward to that. So.
And it's going to be a wee bit different from the last time because, like you're saying, you've always been in camp. So after this fight, you will be able to have a little bit of a wee break.
Yeah, I'm taking a little bit of a break. We'll see what they, kind of are looking at for next year. I'm not sure when Cage Fury's having another card yet
Yeah.
after this one, so kind of just wait to see what happens with that, and hope probably fight sometime. I'm assuming early next year in the spring sometime. So
And what is your goals for next year?
I try not to think too far ahead. Really, my goal is really just to keep taking the fights that are offered to me. I think that's the way to get to the next level. They offer you to fight somebody, take the fight. That's really it. Anything that they give me, I'm ready to take it. And if that leads me, to that next step next year, that's awesome. If not, I'm okay with that too. I'm not trying to rush anything, but really I'm ready just for whatever opportunity comes. The main goal at the end of the day is to make it to that next level. Um, But I'm not ready to rush that if it's not, if it's not time for that to happen. So
And one of the biggest fights that has happened in the UFC, not only just the past year, but over the last couple of years, was that Shevchenko versus Willie fight. How did you find that fight?
I love that fight. I know a lot of people said it was boring, but I think you have to respect the just the game and like the eliteness of Shevchenko's grappling is like and is just incredible. Being a pretty heavy grappler myself, I would say I have a lot of respect for that kind of control and everything. So it was awesome. I definitely think that fight also showed like why weight classes are important. I think
Yeah.
Weili was a pretty significantly smaller than Shevchenko. Um, so no discredit to her skill, of course. She took a huge step up there, weight wise, plus obviously experience wise. Shevchenko's one of the best, Weili's one of the best. So it's cool to see that kind of stuff happen.
And I think the rumor is Willie is going to go back down and face Mackenzie Dern for the title. Do you feel like
Okay.
that? Do you feel like that is probably the best move for her, or would you like to see her stay in the strawweight category?
I think Weili should probably go back down to 115. I would say. I think the size advantage Shevchenko had was pretty significant. Um, so, but
But does she get her title back?
Weili against Dern,
Mackenzie Dern, yeah.
I think so. We'll see. We'll see how well I think Mackenzie Dern's striking stands up. They're both incredible. I don't know. I never know how to call that. You never know what's going to happen in a fight, but I think Weili might edge that one out.
And you do have to admire with Mackenzie Dern the battles in which she has come. She's obviously had that divorce. She's overcame that. She's came into the cage and she's shown that she is still a killer. She's got that belt and she is the king of the women's division. How big do you think, like, if she gets past Whaley, how much of an impact has she been in that division? She's kind of fought everyone.
Yeah, I definitely think she's made a huge impact. Even just for like women in general, she
Yeah.
wasn't obviously coming in, she wasn't the greatest striker, but she's a nasty grappling game. And I mean, she fights her ass off, when she fights, regardless of like how it's going, she's always trying to win. I think that alone should just inspire people, regardless of obviously she's champ, that's awesome, incredible, probably biggest achievement in her life, but just like what she does in general, just going out there and being tough and not giving up and always being a grinder, going through that divorce with her husband and all of that stuff, like that kind of stuff. I think it's just a a great example for women and the young girls coming up in this game.
And who was it that you're kind of looking up to when you was just starting off in the fighting game? Who was it that you're looking up to?
Some of my favorite fighters, like when I was a kid, my most favorite fighter, I would say, like when I was little, I always would say was George St. Pierre when I was a kid. I just remember watching him with my dad when I was a kid. So it's kind of just some, childhood history there with that. But once I started to like get more involved with like just following the UFC more and like actually paying attention to like when women really started to get more popular in the UFC and everything. Some of the people that like I really looked up to, obviously, I think it's I always have to give credit to Ronda Rousey. I mean, she was one of the first to even bring it to the UFC. So obviously, her just um, making it a place for women there.
Yeah.
But my favorite female fighter is Rose Namajunas. I love her. She's
I think she's
definitely.
got. I think it was announced that she's now fighting Natalia Silva. I think it is.
I've
If that's
seen that.
that.
That's going to be a great fight.
We've talked about the Shevchenko versus Nunes. Now let's talk about a fight that's upcoming: the Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. How do you see that fight going?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think it really just depends on what Amanda's been doing this time during this time off. Is she training like like she used to, or is she being a little, just more relaxed with what she's doing because she
Yeah,
was, retired. I'm sure she's still in the gym doing all the things, but there's just a different mentality there. When you're actively competing and versus when you're not. So I think it just depends, like I said, what she's been doing in her time off. Because she's they're both dogs. They're both so good. Kayla, I think's her grappling's incredible. Her striking's getting better. She's just growing. So, that'll be a great fight. That's gonna be a really big one.
And which fight that you've had so far has been your biggest test?
Um, Biggest test. It just depends. My hardest fight to date was when I fought Kara Hode for 247. It was just physically a hard fight for me. She was a lot bigger than me. But I think like one of the hardest like tests to um maybe my last fight I'd say like I feel like she was comes from a good gym. There's world
Yeah,
champions that train out of Syndicate. She's 3-0, had two finishes. I don't really think I was supposed to win that fight in maybe many eyes. So I think that was like I think I made like a statement that fight that like I can, that I can fight girls that are, from really good gyms and beat them, even though I'm training in a little hole in the wall, many would say, at the mat factory. It's just literally a room, matted room. There's nothing special. We have one boxing bag. And I train in my coach's basement. Me and Chris Williams, do privates in his basement. That's how I get better. So I think just having a fight against somebody from a big gym like that shows that we're doing the right things where we're at.
exactly. And how had it been being able to try and get matchups? Because it now seems like a lot more organizations are bringing women in to be able to have matchups. You have Fury, who's got a women's title on the line coming up next few weeks. You also got LFA, they've got their women's division. You've got CFFC, who's also been getting youth fights. How have they been able to find matchups?
Really, this last I feel like couple years, 2 years, I've been more active than I've ever been. It's been pretty easy. Honestly, I've this like we said, this is my fourth fight this year.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I mean, it takes girls sometimes even like a long time to get in between fights and stuff to get matched up. So I feel like I've been really blessed lately, lucky to have so many matchups. I think being willing to just to fight really whoever helps a lot too. They know they call you that you're probably gonna say yes. So I think that's kind of helped me out too.
And do you think a
Plus, I have a
part
great management team. LCA, they management, they definitely are kind of like definitely a part of why I've been able to be active too. They have those connections with Fury, with Cage Fury and everything that I may not have gotten if I wasn't working with them. So
And how good is it to be able to find a family like what you've kind of got? Your boyfriend's obviously fighting, your management there for you, doing the best. How important is it as a fighter to be able to find those roots earlier on in your career?
I think it's huge. Just kind of establishing like your team, who's going to be a part of this journey with you, as early as you can. Find that place where you fit in, that you feel like you have that connection with. You trust them, you believe in their system. I think it's so important, and the sooner you find that, the better off I think you're going to be later on.
And after this fight, we know that you're going to spend some time with family, have a little bit of Christmas, but what are you doing on the night to celebrate the win?
What was it? I'm
Like,
sorry.
what are you going to do to celebrate the win on the night?
What am I going to do to celebrate my win?
Yeah, like any particular food
Mm-mm.
you're going to go out to eat, anything you like to do after a win?
Definitely eat. That's the biggest thing. Um, yeah, we've been going to the Hard Rock Cafe after our fights, usually out in New Jersey, just because it's easy. But yeah, definitely eating anything, especially right now where I'm at. A couple weeks out, I'm feeling the weight cut a little bit, so food,
Now,
ice cream,
how much of the menu is getting ordered? All of it?
as much as yes,
Just maybe one of everything.
one of everything for sure.
And how was it being able to get your pro career started this year as well? Was that coming into this year something that you wanted to get started?
Yeah, definitely. I actually was hoping to start the year in my pro debut. But I lost my not my last amateur fight, but my second to last amateur fight back in October last year. And I really didn't want to turn pro off of a loss. So I took one more in February this year, but yeah, as long as everything goes well in that fight, definitely gonna turn pro. And I also kind of wanted to fight at 115 at least once as an amateur, just to make that weight cut before I turned pro too. So that was kind of the plan. This year I was pretty set on going pro. Very thankful to have 3 pro fights this year. Uh, I think that's such a blessing. So thank God for that for sure.
Well, we can't wait to see you go out there, get that Nora victory, and be able to put your name on that map. Make sure you guys tune in to the UFC Fight Pass on December 20th, and you can see Karli get the victory. And it's going to be a great fight no matter what. Anything you'd like to add, or anyone you want to shout out?
I just want to thank all my teammates, my coaches, Isaac, Chris, Justin Patton, of course, my boyfriend. He's a huge part of my career, my family, all of my sponsors. I have a huge list of them, but definitely want to shout out Monarch Hospice, JV Rigging. Uh, we got Go Green Windows and Construction. Rocco Yager, he's my strength and conditioning coach. He's a huge part of my camp. Milo Nutrition, he's my nutritionist. I have a handful more, but I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to make a look them up, but there's tons of them, and I'm definitely really thankful for them because they help support my camp and get me to fight day and everything and take care of me. So grateful for all of them, for my management team for sure. Just believing in me for years now and just giving me these opportunities to fight as much as I am and yeah, and thank God just for blessing me with this life and health and the will of my heart to do this. So
No, we can't wait to see you go out there, get your hand raised, and be able to see what 2026 has for you. Thank you so much for
thank
coming on.
you. Yep, thank you.